with John Oehser and Brian Sexton. Jags Drive Time starts right now.
Until we make the 53, I think everybody's still fighting for spots, quite honestly. And, we know a few guys are going to make, Josh Allen's going to make the team. I mean, we know that. Trevor's going to make the team. But, there are guys competing for roster spots. And until we, make that 53 final, I think these guys need to understand that.
In shocking news, Josh Allen is going to make the 53-man roster, but there will be roster cuts coming that we will talk about shortly. Welcome into Jaguars Drive Time on a Wednesday. Ashlyn Sullivan, Brian Sexton, and Brent Martineau joining us today.
Good to see you guys.
Yes,
I just spent about
almost
2
all
hours
party.
talking off
Yep.
Brian Sexton's ear about
I was
life.
going to say, I'm glad
Now
that you
we're
say
talking
that.
football.
Yeah, no, mostly life. So just a quick story. I was the sports director at Fox and CBS, where he is now the sports director, and he came in as a young cat. What was that,
yeah.
15 years ago you've been here?
Yeah,
now?
15 years.
Wow.
Yep.
You would never think that.
Yeah.
No, you've aged very well.
Probably a lot nicer now.
Yeah. Well, everyone knew he was talented then. You know what I mean? And look what he's done with his career since
Yes,
then. So
absolutely.
I'm proud to have played just a small part of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sports director, ESPN,
Yeah.
radio
He
broadcast.
does everything.
Preseason broadcast. You're the busiest man in sports.
But the best thing that's ever happened in 15 years is Diet Coke here at the stadium.
That is a big
I look right
topic
into
in
the
the
camera
offseason.
for that one.
Yep,
because
absolutely.
Free commercial from me.
Yeah.
You're happy with that now?
Oh, I love it. It's the best.
We haven't talked about the new Coke machine here. It hasn't made the rundown.
No, I
but
just
yes,
used it for the first time.
There
It's
is a Coke
unbelievable.
machine now in the
I
stadium.
think it's called freestyle, if we're going to be correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is why all
I
these
haven't hit
employees
it
are
yet.
so happy all of a sudden.
I haven't hit it yet. It sounds like
It's not head coach Doug Peterson. He has a small part in it. It's the Coke machine in the stadium.
Yeah.
All right.
That's made the biggest
Very
difference. All right, let's get into big things, shall we? Big thing one is the clock. The clock is ticking for the starters, and the clock is ticking to make these final roster spots. This is what makes Saturday's third preseason game so important, the last chance to make an impression.
Yeah, for me, I do want to see our starters play a little bit longer, go a little bit deeper into the second quarter. Our defensive starters haven't played a ton in the first 2 games. They've done well. They just haven't played a whole lot. So I want to see them play a little bit more in this game, and same with the offense. And just start seeing the consistency with those two units. But yeah, I think overall, kind of treating this like we would a normal in-season game plan type, game.
Big thing, too, is the driver's seat. Quarterback Trevor Lawrence progressing in the preseason, coming off a great practice Monday night, going 16 for 20 and 11 on 11. Not as crisp in today's Wednesday practice, but great self-awareness from the quarterback.
For me, obviously I want to make a jump because that's going to help his team win. Like I've said before, if the quarterback doesn't play well, you're not going to win many games. So in order for us to get to where we want to be come, January, we're going to have to play well. So I'm excited to have that opportunity, and I think this system offers that. And we got a lot of answers, got a great scheme. And then obviously we have talent everywhere, especially, receiver, tight end, running back, up front. The guys have been playing great. So I'm just excited to really see what we can do this year.
And big thing 3 is the Steelers coming to play the Jaguars this Saturday in the third preseason game. And the Steelers are known for a great running team, a great test for this defense that has improved from week 1 to week 2.
Same thing here, learning a new scheme and run fits and different gaps that you have to protect and defend, and it's just different styles, and but at the same time you see improvement. We saw improvement a little bit this past week against Cleveland's rush, and then we got to take it up another notch this Saturday against Pittsburgh, who kind of prides himself in running the football. So it's a matter of just continuing to work together, getting more reps on the field with those starters, and I think you'll begin seeing a little more improvement in that area.
And there you have it. Those are big things getting ready for a third preseason game this Saturday. And I want to go back to big thing 2 because I think that's the biggest topic we all have coming off the practice field today. Monday night, Trevor looked great. I would argue his best practice of training camp. Today, not as crisp. The ups and downs are going to happen, and especially going against this defense, we're seeing this defense improve almost practice to practice. And it's a great challenge for this offense.
If you want to know just how far Trevor Lawrence has come from year 1 to year 2, he stood at that podium today and said, hey, look, we had an intense practice under the lights in cool weather on Monday night and then have a day off. And then we come out here and it's hot and we got to grind through it, right? I'm paraphrasing. But that's what he was saying is we've got to learn to be better when the conditions aren't as good as they were on Monday night. And I thought, no, there's your quarterback. Right?
Yeah, and the other thing about it is I think he was sense agitated by the fact that he did not perform that well today.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing, too. I asked Christian Kirk later, I said, do you guys get motivated by a practice like this? Because, listen, so long camp. You're going to have some good days, some not so great days. I mean, anybody, that's logical. But he said, yeah, we're motivated by it. So it'll be interesting in short practice tomorrow if they come out tomorrow and just look a little more crisp, if they get the chance to do it in that setting, the final one at Episcopal. But it did not look good today. You can't sugarcoat it. It was not a good day for the offense.
There was a good throw to Zay Jones over the middle, and you and I were standing there, and so I talked to him afterwards. And he said, these are those dog days of camp where you've played a couple of preseason games, so you think you should be getting into the regular season routine, but there's still 2 preseason games to go. They've got to practice tomorrow. They've got to be out there in Atlanta on their practice field next week. So you really have to get the mental side of it down. And he said a practice like this sends you back to watch film and hear from the coaches and dials you up tomorrow will be better.
Right. And I think everyone can agree they want training camp to get here sooner rather than later, the end of it, because it is the dog days. We've been out there for 3 weeks and you get, all right, there's kind of a grind now of being out here in the hot sun every single day. I think we saw that today from the offense.
It was like really hot and
really,
really hot. And you had 5 or 6 guys in the tent at different times today because they hadn't been out in this heat really since last Wednesday because they had walkthrough, then a game, then a day off, then a walkthrough, then a night practice, then a day off, and now back out. And it hit them.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell it really hit him. And one other thing about the offense, I mean, Trevor Lawrence threw 1 interception so far this camp, threw 2 today. That'll tell you how not so great the offense was.
Yeah, it just really looked like a timing issue. They just couldn't get things going. And we've seen from the offense before, they start slow, but they pick it back up. Today, they just couldn't seem to pick it up.
And if people are alarmed by that, just hit the brakes. I mean, that's what training camp is.
Right.
Nobody has a training camp where you man, I didn't see a bad practice. Nobody. No player, no side of the ball, no coach, nobody. Camp has been pretty good until this point. I think this was the biggest. They've stubbed their toe a couple of times, but this is the one where he went, they're dragging through this one today.
Yeah.
So.
And credit to the defense as well. I mean, we'll say there's been very few days where I've walked off that practice field going, the defense didn't look great today. They have had a steady improvement throughout camp, I thought.
Well, they've got a nice mix. Brent, we were talking about this the other day. What you get inside with Devon Hamilton and the way that he's played the first 2 games, along with Foley Vatukasi and with Roy Hamilton, on Friday against the Browns, they were great. I mean, they really played well, which, when they play well, everyone else plays well behind them.
Yeah, I think the defense has been unbelievable, really, in camp. I mean, and it translated to the game the other night when everybody was out there, most specifically Josh Allen, Fatukasi, getting him back, and Aluakin, who I think is really the biggest piece, probably get everybody organized. And we still haven't seen it with Devin Lloyd, which will be fun to see when that happens. But they have been good, and you can't sleep on them. They've got me excited, this defense and the scheme, and even the way Trevor talks about it, it looks different to him than it did a year ago. So, listen, long way to go. We'll see how it plays off. We can't get overly excited. All those things. We know that. We've been around it long enough. But they bring it kind of every day, and they brought it again today.
Well, you talk about the running game being a quarterback's best friend. Defense is as well. If that defense can give him the ball back, right? Last year didn't do it enough. If they can create some turnovers, create some short fields, and he can get out there with the running game and dominate. I mean, you can see where these dominoes start to fall when you have the talent on both sides of the ball. And Trevor said that today when he looks at this roster from a year ago. He sees a significant upgrade in the talent. Well, for $175 million, you're the most ever spent in free agency and the number 1 pick in every round. You would expect that they had got there. But it hasn't always been that way, right? I mean, we've had expectations of money they've spent, of draft picks they've made, and they haven't paid off. First month of camp, I don't think there's been any disappointments.
Absolutely. And the biggest questions, we saw James Robinson for one of the first times in a team period today, and I think that's the biggest question. Do you have James Robinson week 1? At this point, Mike Caldwell, defensive coordinator, spoke this morning. Do you have Devin Lloyd week 1? I'm at that point where I have to ask because we haven't seen him all training camp. We thought maybe we'll see him this week. Maybe we see him tomorrow. He's off to the side again today. I'm at the point where I'm wondering when Devin Lloyd will be back as well.
Yeah, I don't think we see Devin Lloyd Saturday night, of course. He hasn't practiced enough for that, or even for me. And I'm not even like...
And if you don't see him Saturday, you're not going to see him in Atlanta.
Well, I do wonder about that. I question that a little bit because
do you have to play him?
The reason I say that, Brian, is because I didn't think all these guys would play in the Hall of Fame game. And Peterson put those guys out there, a lot of them. And so I wonder if you
he
take
had
Lloyd
time.
for a few snaps, even
Maybe.
if it's not with all the ones. Because I agree with you. I don't think the ones are going to play.
Right.
But I wonder if they feel like they have to get him something, or maybe it's him talking.
On the front end, with the Hall of Fame game, I understood it a little bit more because you had time to get these guys back. If you had some of these soft tissue injuries. On the backside of it, Brent, I agree with you. I mean, I wanted to see Travis Etienne in week 1 because I thought, look, if he's going to take some time, get him those reps. But I just wonder, what's the benefit to him of playing 7, 8, 9 snaps?
I'm okay if he doesn't.
As opposed to having a couple more weeks. Because remember, you have that week between this year, between the last preseason game. You have a full week and then game week. So there's more time to get him there. And let's be honest, he's a rookie. You have a long-term perspective with him. If he's not ready to go week 1, okay, he's not ready to go week 1. Chad Muma's gotten better.
Yeah.
And looks like he can
has.
step in and play. When you get Devin Lloyd back, be sure you've got him back.
Right.
Yeah, if you're going to make a little wager here on those guys playing James Robinson or Devin Lloyd, I mean, you'd probably be better off betting against that. Maybe a Diet Coke on the line, for next
I like
week.
it.
A free Diet Coke?
And just get him to the regular season opener. Like, I'm okay with it, but I do question. Again, I was surprised by Doug Peterson how many guys he played in that Canton, Ohio game. So now I'm just wondering a little bit about Doug
The
and,
mindset,
and saying, okay, maybe he thinks he does need to play. But I'm certainly okay if Robinson, Lloyd don't play until Washington.
So I'm old school, right? I go back to 1995 with this team, and I remember training camp being double days in pads, full contact, and not even thinking twice. And Monday night, they're tackling Travis Etienne. I'm going, whoa, what are we doing here, right?
You've changed.
Well, yeah, I mean, you do, because that's the way the league has evolved. You're trying to get your guys through. And Loggeman, if he were here, would be the first one to say, hey, look, he's all for the player safety, right? Get these guys to the regular season. But part of me wants to see everybody play and get a couple of snaps in every game. But that's just not the way that we do it in this game
I know.
anymore.
We have to be patient, which is annoying.
It is, and I would say that if Devin Lloyd isn't ready week 1 or even week 2, fine, wait.
Right.
This
Long-term
is a guy,
perspective, you're so right.
This is a guy you hope plays 12, 13 years
Right.
for you.
You
Right.
can't mess around with a hamstring either.
No.
Because it'll be all year if you bring it back too
Well,
early.
when Leonard
Totally
Fournette
true.
popped his hamstring on opening day in
That was it.
2018,
Yeah.
it ruined the offense.
Absolutely.
It wasn't the same.
And that is big things when we come back on Jaguars Drive Time. Some this or that on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Hey Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Jags fans, this is Shaquille Griffin. I'm going to share some of my secrets for competing in the NFL. First, the field is no place for hunger. Growing up, I got big and strong eating boiled peanuts. Today, our team is serious about fueling our bodies, and that means popping open some protein-packed peanuts from Luray's Peanuts. It's the same boiled peanut flavor I used to love eating as a kid, but with superfood nutrition that lets me tear it up on the field. Pick Luray's boiled peanuts at all Jaguar home games, or pick up a few bags at the grocery store and fuel up at home.
Crown Royal's That Deserves a Crown program recognizes local heroes for making a positive impact in the community. The Jaguars and Crown Royal are giving back to those who served this season, celebrating these individuals with the ultimate VIP Jaguars home game experience. Nominate someone who deserves a crown today at jaguars.com/Crown Royal promotion. Please drink responsibly.
Price.com is the easiest way to save money with comparison shopping, cashback, coupons, all in one. It's free. Try Price.com today. We are back, Jaguars Drive Time on a Wednesday. Happy to have Brent Martineau here with us. John Ozier joining us back shortly in a couple of weeks, dealing with a family matter, and we are wishing him well, but he will be back with us for all of those asking. It is time for This or That, presented by Price.com. Comparison and contrasting. Brian, what do you got?
I'll play off what we were just talking about. Last year was the first year that they had 3 preseason games, brand new format, right? In 1978, they went to a 4 preseason game because they had 6 before, right? So they've gone from 6 to 4 to 3, and I'm asking, is that the right number? They have 4 this year because of the extra game, the game in Canton. So is 4 the right number because you can use the first and the fourth to really see young guys and use those 2 in the middle to get the work you need done? Or is 3 the right number? Or is 2 the right number? What is the right number of preseason games?
I like 3. I think 3 is
the
great.
3 is right. I don't think we're going to get to 2 anytime soon, but I don't mind the 3. At least it's not 4 overall. I think that's the best part of it.
Although we do the broadcast and get a chance to enjoy.
Oh, we love
so
it.
I'll
the
take
preseasons
4
are
any
great.
day.
But, I agree with that. I also love the fact that he doesn't look old enough to be the historian, but he also can throw out 1978 like it was just yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Why did
He's got some stories now.
I'm a football geek. I'll say this. I think people, they stay in the here and now. And 1978 was 40 years ago, right? So they forget that they used to play 14 regular season games and 6 preseason games. 6. There was no off season. Guys came to camp for 6 weeks to get in shape. Just, as a matter of perspective, so that you're looking at where we are now with the OTAs and the off-season work. Of course, guys back then also had jobs selling tires or hanging drywall.
And would come back to work.
Now they make enough money, they don't have to. So it's just, we've evolved. The game has evolved. I'll say I'd like to see 4 preseason games, just because I think that it allows you the time. Now, I don't want to go to 6 weeks of training camp, right? I like that extra game because I think you can play all the young guys in week 1, right? You can sprinkle a couple guys in here, but by the time you get to the last week in Atlanta practice, then your guys sit for almost 2 weeks, right? I like that. I think that gives it more flexibility. We're never going back to it. And I think
I'm
you're
about
right.
to say, if this happens, this is all your fault.
Yeah, we're never going back.
Never
to it.
going back.
And we're probably at least 2 cycles of the CBA, which is like 2 decades.
Yeah, away
going
from
to just 2 games.
Right. You go to 2, then the next leverage point in the negotiation is 18 regular season games,
And 2 games.
and they're not going there. So
Yeah. 2, I don't think you can get enough in.
I just think with Doug Peterson's team this year, the 4th game fits.
Yep.
The extra work and
No,
the
it
opportunity
helps.
to get a team ready to play.
Definitely. All right, Brent, what do you got?
My turn for this or that. I'm going to the left guard spot because I think all of a sudden, when we went into this camp, right, and we saw right tackle as really the only starting position battle that you were keyed in on outside of kicker.
Right.
Well, now all of a sudden we've got an emerging competition at left guard based on the way Tyler Shatley played last Friday, and Ben Barch, here he comes. Now, interestingly enough, he got first-team reps today in practice, then he goes out of practice. He got hit by maybe dehydration. We don't know exactly, but he was actually throwing up on the sideline, so he had to go in that 10.
Bad day to be sick.
Yeah, but he got the
March.
first-team reps, and that says a lot to me now. This game is huge for the left guard spot, and also a big deal, I think, for the comfortability of this offense and Doug Peterson. Because one of the things that Peterson said to us last week was that Luke Fortner, he's really good, and he's going to be good. But it's nice having Shatley right next to him if he misses a call or doesn't see something that a veteran can see.
Right.
So you're taking that element out, and I kind of like that element in. But I also love the idea that potentially Ben Barch is going to go beat him out, because that's a guy you drafted and have developed now. And if you get Cam, Barch, Fortner, Sheriff, and Walker Little or Jawan Taylor, you could have that line for the next 3 to 5 years here in Jacksonville going forward with Trevor Lawrence taking snaps.
Well, look, all due respect to Tyler Shatley, right? Here's a guy who showed up
best.
here in 2014 as an undrafted rookie, and they gave him a roster spot because they didn't think they'd be able to get him through the practice squad. And he's been here. In 17, they don't go to the playoffs if when Brandon Linder goes down, he missed 5 weeks, 5 games.
Yep. Yeah.
In the middle of the heart of the season, if he can't step in and give them seamless. But he's a break glass in case of emergency guy, as far as I'm concerned. He doesn't have the size and the length, I think, like Barch does, to be that consistent force. I think he's a guy that you want at guard, you want at center. He's more valuable to you in that role than he is as a starter. Barch played 11 games last year, started 11 games, and played really well. And I talked to, and you probably have too, Phil Rauscher, the offensive line coach, and I said, give me a guy that we really need to be paying attention to. Who's the next Tyler Shatley? He said, I've been through with Ben Barch. Now I throw a wrinkle into it. I think Walker Little is your right tackle. I think Jawan Taylor ought to be getting some reps at guard.
Really?
I think he would be a Pro Bowl caliber guard. He's such a powerful guy in a phone booth. I think he would vault from, who's Jawan Taylor? He's a right tackle, to, have you seen Jawan Taylor? He's going to hit the free agent market as a guard. And I know he didn't like it last year when people asked him, because tackles make more money than guards.
Of course.
But the guard next to you makes $18 million a year. Right?
Well,
You'd be okay with
makes
that.
18. I would think playing guard would be good.
Playing guard's better than the bench.
Yeah, I would. Don't be surprised if you don't see at some point Jawan Taylor getting some reps at guard.
Because Jawan Taylor's been pretty good so far now.
No,
Yeah.
He's holding them off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but Walker Little, just long term,
I agree with
he's more fluid and better moving sideways than Juwan is.
What I could see happening, it's similar to what we talked about with Jawan Taylor and Walker Little. I could see Jawan Taylor and Shatley being the guys starting week 1, but then when Walker Little enters the lineup and when Ben Barch enters the lineup, that's it. Then they keep them. But I hate to do the respect thing, but I could just see them going with that group, and then once they go in and they play well enough, they're not going back.
There's nothing wrong with respect. It sends a message to your locker room when you send the respect. And you're talking about two guys who have been here for a while and who have earned their stripes. I get it. Mm-hmm. And I mean no disrespect to either one of them. I'm looking objectively at it, and I think Barch and Little are your guys. But those two, if they're in the lineup, they can help you.
Let me look organizationally real quick, too, is that if Walker Little doesn't play right tackle, you run the risk of putting a second-round draft pick from last year on the bench for 2 straight seasons.
Right.
That's a great job by Jawan Taylor to hold him off, and credit to him for winning the battle. But that's not going to look good with that second-round pick, that 45th overall.
No.
I mean, you got to play these guys sooner or later. So that brings that conversation into play.
I see both sides,
I look at him, and I think he's ready to go now.
He does look ready to go. If it's this close of a battle, I can so see it's at the point you got to play him at this point. Because if not, it doesn't look like a good draft pick.
This is also the last year of Jawan Taylor's contract.
Right.
He's on a 4-year deal, right on his rookie contract. And so you're going to have to be making a call about that. You might as well, if it's that close,
and it seems
go
that
with
way.
the guy who's got plenty of time on his deal.
Mm-hmm. Fascinating stuff. We're going to find out more about that in Saturday's game. We're going to find much more about this last wide receiver spot, depending on if they keep 5 or 6 receivers. This is fascinating to me. Laquan Treadwell or Laviska Shenault, which is crazy to even put in the universe that Laviska Shenault might not make this football team. If they keep 6 receivers, I think both of them make it. If you keep 5 receivers, this is your last spot. And gosh, I make the argument after watching training camp every single day, I think Laquan Treadwell deserves it.
Yeah, here's the deal. I think the Jags don't have a competition at all at the wide receiver spot, and I think those 5 guys are going to make it. And also Jamal Agnew, I think there's going to be a 6th because of his returnability. Yeah. And I think they're going to keep 6 guys. Now, you could be right. If it's a numbers game and it comes down to 5, that'd be very interesting. But I don't see them.
Because you have to keep Agnew. That's one of your spots.
You have to keep Agnew.
Yeah.
You have to, I would think. And also he gives you wrinkles on offense. So there's plenty of reason to keep him. And I like what Treadwell has done. But I'm a fan of Shenault. I'm more of a fan than anybody else. I think he can have a bounce-back year, and he, too, gives you, Brian, another guy that you might have to game plan for as a defense, even if you just use him for 12 snaps a game.
And we wouldn't have seen that so far. I mean, they're not going to give that away in the preseason, right? We've seen them do some things on the practice field with him. I have, when he's been practicing. If I was basing it on practice today, I'd say Laviska, because he had a really good day today.
He did have a good day today.
I tend to lean with you on this one. I think Chenault's a guy that they've got wrinkles for. I don't think he's a receiver as much as I think he's a jackknife, a utility infielder, to use your baseball background. He's Jose Kendo. He can do a lot of different things. You're smiling because you know Sexton with baseball.
Not only that, but you went to the way back machine again.
I'm really old.
That's his thing.
Well, I get people going, they're looking it up now. I think he can do a lot of different things for you. And just on Agnew, people forget last year against Denver, he set the franchise record for the longest scoring play in franchise history. And then the next week against the Cardinals, he did it again. Right?
No, you can't let that guy go.
Back-to-back weeks. And then he scored on a 66-yard reception and a 39-yard run. No, he is at. I don't think he's 6, by the way. I think he's your return man, and he's 4th or 5th.
No, I agree.
I think he gives you that many.
Oh, he looked good at practice today, too.
He did.
Him and Shenault had good practices, and Treadwell has been good, to your point.
Yeah, and I think I just could see the argument to use Treadwell more, which is a great problem to have. I agree. I don't think you can let either of those guys go, so you have to keep 6.
Yeah,
which eliminates my argument, but it's okay.
You know what I think?
It's a good argument because they don't always keep 6.
Yeah.
You know what I think in a small way hurts Laquan is you look at him, he's a big guy, he runs pretty well. And then you've got Zay Jones, who's a big guy who runs really well.
Right,
You're like, well, we got a big guy that runs really well.
Similar
what we don't have
styles.
is the jackknife. So numbers could work against Laquan, but he's a guy who made tough catches last year for you when you needed them. So you have a hard time letting that talent go.
I brought this up the other day. Have you guys remember, though, a time where really there's not a battle for that last... I mean, potentially it's a battle here, but let's just say they keep 6. There's nobody creeping in on that.
No.
We've had
It's a
Keelan
huge
Cole
drop
and
off.
Alan Hearns and all these other guys, and I was really looking at Juwan Winningham as a guy who, out of the spring, looked good, but I don't think there's anybody knocking on the door out of those 6 guys.
And you wouldn't be surprised if when they add the practice squad receivers, that none of them are here in camp now.
Yeah.
Because there's nobody that you're going, well, that guy's absolutely on the practice squad. At least I haven't seen it. Maybe they have.
What's the craziest is I was just talking to someone on the staff today about this. Do you remember a time last year when Laquan Treadwell was your number 1 guy? At this point last year, or not this point last year, but at the end of last season, we were talking about Treadwell being like the go-to guy, the number 1 guy. And now we're talking about making the roster.
Yeah.
That's a
Shows
good
how
sign.
far they've come. Absolutely.
That is a good sign.
All right, and that is this or that presented by Price.com. When we come back on Jaguars Drive Time, a look at the preseason broadcast.
Hey Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
At VyStar Credit Union, you inspire us to deliver on our promise, to do good for our members and our communities. That's why we offer more banking options, like better rates and no hidden fees. We also give back, donating several $1 million to hundreds of nonprofits each year. Better financial lives, stronger communities. VyStar Credit Union. Do good. Bank better. Visit vystarcu.org/join. Insured by NCUA.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gates Frequent Shopper Clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
Jaguars Game Day Radio is brought to you by VyStar Credit Union. Do good, bank better. We're back, Jaguars Drive Time, on a Wednesday post-practice coming off the training camp field. We have one more training camp practice tomorrow at Episcopal High School. It is crazy to think. I want to say it has gone by fast, but it really hasn't. Back on Jaguars Drive Time with Brian Sexton and Brent Martineau. The last day, and we got to give a shout-out to Episcopal. It was seamless. It was a great training camp. There were zero issues, zero wrinkles, and when this was presented, I thought, oh, this is going to be a lot. And it hasn't.
Good people that have been excellent hosts, and it certainly has worked out being so close. I mean, you think it's up Atlantic Boulevard a little way. It's a 7-minute drive.
That's it.
Yeah, it for the circumstances this year, I don't think they could have asked for anything better.
Yeah, thankfully I got here on time because it's so close.
Right?
I mean, that's a miracle.
And you change your shirt.
Yeah, I mean, that's a miracle.
No problem.
By the way, a shout out to Episcopal. And also a shout out to the operations staff here with the Jaguars because they did a fantastic job. I thought it was, from our vantage point, from a media standpoint, I thought it felt the same. Like there was nothing different.
You wouldn't
I
have
understand there were
noticed.
buses and for everybody else on the inner workings. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I'd go back there again next year, but you don't have to because you got this new thing.
Well,
going
and
up.
Doug's good about letting us wander all around the fields. Not every coach is that open, and there's some shade in one corner of the field. First shade in
That's
the
a
history of
popular
Jaguars training
place.
camp, right? Yeah, so I found that quickly, and I really appreciate it. But it's what's coming here next year with this new facility and the covered stands for folks. It's going to be an amazing training camp venue every year. So it wasn't as much fun not having fans out there to interact with the players this year. But from this point forward, they'll fill the stands out.
It is worth the wait. Absolutely.
It
I
will
did
be
miss
for
the
folks.
fans too, so it'll be nice to have
it's
them
a big
back. It's
difference.
nice seeing the fans out
Have
there.
the energy that they bring. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you two are on the preseason radio or TV broadcast along with Bucky Brooks, and I want to talk to you guys about the production meetings because I think that's so valuable, a time where you can sit with Trevor Lawrence or sit with Coach Peterson.
I thought we were going to evaluate like me on the sideline.
Yeah,
I thought that's what this
I wanna
segment
talk about
was
how
all
you
about.
Yeah, hold on. Let me call this up.
We have some notes. I want to hear the takeaways from the first week of doing that because that's a time where they can kind of let their guard now. They're not standing in front of a huge press conference and they can just talk.
Well, a year ago, we had one in person with Trevor Lawrence. Remember that upstairs in the upper club? And I remember thinking, wow, I mean, this kid really is everything that they thought, that they said he was. And when he walked in and sat down the other day, he still dazzled me with his understanding of the process of what we were trying to get done, of his understanding of the big picture of this franchise and where it is, and his ability to just sit back and go, I'm really excited to see Zay Jones. And to tell us why. And not give away anything, right? But to, give us a storyline that we can work with. If you like him because of the player that he is, you would love him as a person. He's fantastic.
Yeah, I love this part of the job. I love this part of August, being able to, on the sidelines, go to the production meetings. I always tell anybody that will listen, PR folks or anybody else in the building, I wish I could go to these every week.
Right.
Because you do learn a little bit something. It is a different setting away from the microphone. And last week we had Josh Allen in. He was terrific, by the way. The energy of Josh Allen, what he's done to really embrace, I think, this city, this franchise, and this year, where there could be a lot of pressure on him. And I even said in the production meeting, I said, you look more free than I've ever seen you. He's a good personality guy, as we all know, but he is ready to go.
Yeah.
And to the point where you would buy a lot of stock on Josh Allen for what this year might look like. And then you said it about Trevor, and it doesn't surprise me, but even him, he's getting more comfortable around everyone here in Jacksonville. They didn't get that luxury last year for these new guys coming in with the rules and restrictions and COVID, and we're back to normal. And then there's Doug Peterson. And the biggest part of it is such a great hire because it's a perfect fit. Forget about the football stuff. We all know this place, this building, this locker room, this city, I think needed Doug Peterson. And I think you feel that a lot of times off a microphone, but I think we felt that a little bit more in the production meetings too. It's a terrific fit. He's fun. He knows what this league is, and obviously that wasn't the case last year when we were in those kind of meetings.
I mean, he came into the league with Shula and Marino, and then he went to Holmgren and Favre in Green Bay, and then he connected with Andy Reid in Philly and went to Kansas City with him, and then went to Philly himself. He has seen it. Big markets, historic markets, small markets. He understands what the situation is here. It was great to come in with Trevor Lawrence, but to come in with the owner building the practice facility, this is a great job, and he knows it, and he's really excited about it, and that comes through.
Yeah, and just the stress-free nature of him. I will say today, when the offense wasn't looking as good, there was an illegal formation with a wide receiver, and I thought, Coach Peterson might get a little mad about this, and he just picked up the football and said, next group. No need to yell, no need to do anything, just get off the field, next group.
Well, how about Monday night, too? He even applauded Mike Caldwell, who was coaching from the sideline, called a timeout before a field goal, and 2 times he was like, that was a good call. That was a good call. I mean, you can feel that out there, and he's also, I think, bringing along his offensive coordinator is an offensive coordinator for the first time. Defensive coordinator for the first time with Mike Caldwell. And I think he enjoys that because I asked him in the production meeting, you could have been playing a lot of golf, man.
Yeah.
And and you didn't have to do this.
No,
Life was
This can
okay.
be a stressful gig.
Yeah.
But I think he really missed it, and he's happy to be here. Clay Harbor, who we have coming up on our show this afternoon, he played for him in Philly. And he just chuckled. The former Jags tight end, by the way, Clay Harbor. He was out at practice day. He chuckled when I asked him about Peterson. At practice day, he just said everybody loved him. Yeah,
Aww.
Everybody loved him. He was a QB coach then.
Yep.
But everybody loved him. I think you get that vibe. You guys know it better than me because you're in the building.
You know what he is? He is the big brother this franchise needed. He's put his arm around it and said, let me show you how
Come
we
on,
win.
let's
here.
go. Yeah.
Right? I know exactly what to do. Let's go do it.
Yeah.
A franchise that, panic's the wrong word. Anxiety might be the right word. But, they've been, what do we do? How do we get this thing jump-started again, right? Well, and then the quarterback shows up, and now the coach shows up. It just feels right.
Well, that is our look at the preseason broadcast. When we come up on Jaguars Drive Time, some closing thoughts here on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Hey Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bono's is currently expanding its brand with franchise opportunities throughout the Southeast and beyond. Over 70 years of authentic Southern pit barbecue and owning your own business are a great combo. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Crown Royals That Deserves a Crown program recognizes local heroes for making a positive impact in the community. The Jaguars and Crown Royal are giving back to those who served this season, celebrating these individuals with the ultimate VIP Jaguars home game experience. Nominate someone who deserves a crown today at jaguars.com/Crown Royal Promotion. Please drink responsibly.
For 9 years, Dreamfinders Homes has been proud to call themselves the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for all their available inventory. We are back, one more segment on Jaguars Drive Time with Brent Martineau and Brian Sexton. I am Ashlyn Sullivan, and Brent is the busiest man in the sports media here in Jacksonville.
You are.
So what do we have going up this week?
We got an afternoon show on ESPN 690 this afternoon. I mentioned Clay Harbor will be coming on, and we'll have a special announcement about that and some others, former Jags, along the way in the upcoming weeks. That won't happen today. We have high school football season. We have high school football season that starts on Friday over there at Bishop Kenny, but it does everywhere for us. And then on Saturday, we'll be right here at the stadium. We have countdown to kickoff right before kickoff on Fox 30 coming up on Saturday.
I am so excited that next week we're in Atlanta and the game is on Saturday. I'm driving back for Friday Night Football.
I love that.
I don't want to. I'm driving all the way back to Bishop Kenny's playing First Coast. I'm going to race back after production meetings and come down and watch the game and then go back and do the game on Saturday. I don't want to miss it. You only get so many of these with your kids.
That's awesome.
So a lot of the folks out there don't understand that. They'll be like, Brian, you're crazy, but someday they'll do the same thing.
Yeah, you do, and you will too.
I think you're crazy right now because I don't have kids. That's a lot of driving.
We both have kids. He's got 2 seniors. I've got a senior and a junior. And when they get ready to go off to school and they're almost gone, and there are people who watch this that know that, you're counting the days. I mean, you only have so much time. I'm not going to let one Friday Night Football miss. There's nothing that can get in the way of Friday Night Football. I don't care who's on the phone. I will be there on Friday night no matter who calls me.
Are you the front row dad?
Where
are you sitting in the stands?
If the Pope calls, no. Do you know who I spend my time with? Mayor Curry's son plays at BK, and he and I walk back and forth.
Oh, you're
back
a walker.
And forth.
There's always a type of dad.
Yeah.
You're a walker. You sit. Like my dad
everything.
put his chair right behind center field fence, would try to talk to me. I'm like, Dad, please get away from me. There's always a type of dad.
I've actually asked my daughter. I said, "Do you want me to go out to center field?"
No.
And she said, "No."
Don't be that dad.
Well, no,
please.
but she was pitching, so I was behind the plate. She's videoing.
So you're
and I'm like, "Do you want me to go to center field?" She said, "No." She kind of liked it, so I'm like, "Hey, I'm there."
Jeez.
Enjoy it.
At least for now. Until it's a bad outing.
This
then
is
it's
a
my
terrible
fault.
flashback. Yeah. Dad, please leave me alone.
Were you a good center fielder is the question.
No.
Oh, so Dad was yelling
that
at
was
you
the
then.
problem, was there was always this analysis of what I could do better in between pitches.
It's not far away. Hey, I'm excited for this Friday night's Jamboree game. So it's
awesome stuff.
It comes quick.
Well, Brent, thank you for joining us.
It was good to be here,
on
guys.
Jaguars Drive Time. We'll have Jaguars Drive Time back for you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. We will see you then.